Hey guys, so I want to do a video today, sort of telling my story, hoping that it might inspire someone or help someone in any way. If anything, maybe you'll find it a little bit entertaining. So I quit my job and started a concrete company with zero experience in the concrete space. So kind of want to talk a little bit about why I did that, how I did that, and sort of what the experience would be, and then any advice that I might have to somebody who's looking to start their own business. So first, a little background about me. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. I got out and ended up in the sales space. I ended up selling parts and textiles in the industrial laundry industry. So do sales calls during the day, going to warehouses and hospitals and hotels, meeting with engineers, talking about their machines, and then at night I would do the service on those machines, do the installations, and um, deal with any problems or issues that I could help with. Enjoyed that job. It was a lot of work, but in 2020, COVID hit, and the entire hospitality industry was put on hold. And so the laundry industry was put on hold. Hospitality industry is 90% of the laundry industry. Um, and so I ended up bouncing around to a few different sales jobs. I sold solar panels. I sold merchant services. I did corporate recruiting. And I enjoyed those, and I learned a lot about sales. But ultimately, I hated the fact that I had zero control, that I couldn't control the customer experience. I couldn't control the product. All I could do is try to sell and then try to be an intermediary between the company and the customer and try to make sure that the company did right by the customer because ultimately my name was on that product. And I had a lot of experiences with just about every company that I worked with where I'll give you an example. When I sold solar, that solar company had basically taken every objection imaginable and put a slide in a presentation to handle those objections. And so they taught me how to give the presentation. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hour long presentation going through every single possible objection basically. And then at the end, the sales tactic would be to like, you know, try to well, do you see any problems here? Well, yeah, what about well, we already covered that. I learned a lot about sales in how not to do it through that company. But one of the things we would talk about is we don't use any subcontractors. All the work we do is entirely in-house with our employees. And that's what I would tell people. And then I sold some projects and I showed up for the start, and sure enough, another truck rolls up with another solar company name on the side, and the homeowner's like, "Who are these people?" I say, "Oh, good question. I don't know because the company told me we have all of our own in-house people. So I told you we have all our own in-house people, and here's a company that is not in-house." Um, and I just hated running into situations like that. Like, why wouldn't you be truthful with me? That wasn't a make or break deal for this customer. I could have just not said it, and it would have been no problem. But instead, now I've got a problem to deal with. So a lot of examples like that. And I wanted to be in control of the product, and I wanted to be in control of the customer experience, and I wanted to be able to tell them things that were truthful and honest about how I work and what we provide. So I ended up starting my own company. And how did I get there? Uh, I ended up actually getting reached out to by a franchise, concrete franchise in the residential space, and talked with them, and I liked what I heard. I had a few concrete companies come out and give me an estimate so I could see what the customer experience was like as it currently existed, see if there was a gap in the market there. I could get a look at the prices and then research what the cost of goods were so I could see what the profit margins were like. And I did my due diligence, and there definitely was opportunity here in New England in the residential concrete space. Now, I've definitely learned some unique challenges and problems and had to solve those, but that's ultimately how I got started. Was I bought into a franchise, um, still with the franchise, Sam the Concrete Man, um, and the way that works is that you pay a franchise fee and they help you get a small business loan. You go out there to Denver, where their corporate headquarters is, and you get some training. And then they have a team that helps with marketing and advertising. They've got a call center. They've got a CRM, and they've got business coaches, and they kind of help you sort of run your business. And then it's on you to sort of get the work in the ground and bid the jobs and be profitable. Now, I have zero experience in concrete. So how was I able to go from no experience to now putting concrete in the ground? We use subcontractors. What I learned through the estimation process is that most of the residential concrete guys here in New England know a lot about concrete, but they don't know how to run a business, and they don't know how to translate what they do into a way that the customer can understand. They don't know how to handle customer concerns and address them in a way that the customer feels good. They don't know how to sell. And so if we could package all of these things and these shortcomings and solve those and present them to the customer would be willing to pay a little more. And if I could have a subcontractor and I could present him and give him a ton of work, he might charge me a little bit less because he doesn't have the kind of business overhead and he's not wasting the time going around and doing estimates for customers who aren't going to buy. And so the business model is viable. Some things that kind of suck, paying the franchise fee. It sort of sucks. It's 8% off of total revenue. So if I sold $100,000, $8,000 goes to the franchise. That's $8,000 that would otherwise go in my pocket. That kind of sucks. There's a steep learning curve for how to do estimates. And the first few jobs that I bid, I underbid by a significant amount. And it sucks having to call a homeowner and say, hey, I didn't bid this correctly. I was way too low, and we're not going to be able to do this job for you. Here's a few other companies you can call. If you want us to still do the work, this is what we would have to get for it. I apologize. That sucks, and that's awkward. But like I said, I think there's a lot of opportunity, at least here in New England, to solve that problem and give the customers what they're looking for. Some things that I've learned that if a buddy of mine were to pursue something similar in either the same industry or at least in the home services space, I would probably say you don't need the franchise. There's a bit of a steeper learning curve, but I think you can find companies that will provide the marketing and the advertising and the call center for less than what I pay my franchise, even before the franchise fee. If you include the franchise fee, it's significantly less. So you can put a lot more money in your pocket, which will make you profitable faster. Yeah. There's going to be a steeper learning curve, but ultimately the money that you save, I think, if you're willing to put the effort and the hard work in early, will pay off in the long run. The coaching that I receive isn't quite what I thought it would be. And I have found that spending 30 minutes on YouTube with a pad and paper and then another 30 minutes processing what I've learned and trying to apply it is probably more valuable than spending 30 minutes on the phone with the business coach. So far, most of the coaching that I've gotten has been pretty surface level. Hey, this is the problem that I'm experiencing. Oh, well, it sounds like you need to find a cheaper sub. Okay, thank you. Like that's pretty basic. Um, whereas I can watch a YouTube video that's like, hey, identify major problems in your business that you would typically avoid and attack them head on because those problems, once solved, are opportunities for success. Okay, awesome. Well, now I'll sit down and I'll think about those major problems I avoid, and then I can come up with solutions to attack them. And you would think like a business coach would say things like that, like, "Hey Tom, what are the major problems that you avoid?" Okay. Well, what if you solved those? How much money is that going to make you? And what's the cost going to be to solve those? And it's just like you're just not getting that. So that would be kind of my recommendation to someone if they were thinking about starting their own business. The fastest, easiest way to start is to utilize subcontractors. Build a list of 150 subcontractors that do the thing you're looking to get into. Watch every video, read every book, go to the American Concrete Institute, get certified, learn everything you can about the thing that you're going to now try to sell. Sit down with subcontractors, present your business model to them, and you will find one that's willing to work with you, that sees the value, sees the business partnership potential there, and they will help teach you how to quote, how to estimate, what are some things that you need to think about, and then go out and do it. Start marketing, start advertising, and put your name out there, and win a job or two. Something to think about is if you're going to dive headfirst into it, you're probably not going to make money your first few months, first 6 months, because you'll have no Google reviews, you will have your pricing is not going to be right, and you'll probably end up doing jobs just slightly above cost. And you'll make $500 on it instead of the $2,000 that you were hoping for. Well, you make $300 on it. That when if you do one job a month, well, your business overhead is going to eat away all of the profit of that job. So prepare to not make money, or prepare to start very slowly and not ramp up as quickly and try to do 2 jobs at a time. What that means, though, is that you're going to work like a dog. 80 hours, 90 hours, all of your free time should be spent on the business, because if you have a full-time job, 40 hours a week, then you need to also be learning about concrete. You need to be or learning about whatever product, calling subcontractors, researching the product, going out and actually doing estimates, putting the estimates together, following up with the estimates. All of that is going to take an insane amount of time. So if you plan on trying to work into it slowly, be prepared to have no life whatsoever, and work your butt off, because you should be doing that anyways, regardless, either way. But you're going to be working even harder if you're trying to do a full-time job and start a business. But it is possible. It is doable. I am doing it, and if I can do it, anybody can. I'll put out a couple more videos talking about the sales and how I structure things, and subcontractor management and customer management, because I've been doing this for a year now, and my first 6 months I lost a little bit of money, and I've learned a ton, and I've made a lot of mistakes. And if you're interested in following along this journey, let me know. And if there's anything, if you stuck around this long and there's something you want me to discuss or talk about or tell you more about, let me know, and I'd be happy to throw it out there. But thank you, and I'm looking forward to sharing this journey with you guys.